amid wealth redistribution showdown. Now Congress Party's inheritance tax push.
You, in your generation, made wealth. You are leaving now. You must leave your wealth for public.
Prime Minister says, Congress to tax you after death.
अब कांग्रेस का कहना है कि वो इनहेरिटेंस टैक्स लगाएगी, माता पिता से मिलने वाली विरासत पर भी टैक्स लगाएगी।
सच्चाई क्या है? सच्चाई ये है
Congress attempts damage control.
His comments are torn out of context and they are being sensationalized in order to divert attention from the Prime Minister's deliberate, mischievous and malicious, poison-ridden campaign.
When the right time comes,
Another self-goal by Indian National Congress. Inheritance tax showdown. Top focus on India Today.
Election season hotting up in the biggest way possible. The Congress once again finding itself having to grapple with a self-goal from a prominent insider. It's a big sense of electoral deja vu for the grand old party. We're going to get into it. We're going to debate the big crossfire between the Congress and the BJP. First, as always, the headlines at 5. The big Congress Manifesto war. Rahul Gandhi speaks out on the wealth survey for the first time, says it's Prime Minister Modi who created wealth inequality in India. BJP protests in Delhi, seeks Congress Manifesto rollback.
16 लाख करोड़ रुपए उन 200 में से 25 लोगों को नरेंद्र मोदी ने दिया है। 16 लाख करोड़ रुपए।
Quota showdown erupts in Karnataka. Muslims categorized as OBCs. Prime Minister Modi hits out, says Congress will snatch Dalit quota and give it to Muslims. It's official, Akhilesh Yadav will be fighting from UP's Kannauj. The Samajwadi Party chief will field his nomination tomorrow. It's Akhilesh versus the BJP's Shubrat Pathak in the fray. Final day of campaigning for phase 2 of the Lok Sabha election. Voting for 89 seats across 13 states will be held in the second phase this Friday. Massive outrage continues over Hubli campus stabbing. CID takes accused Fayaz into 6-day custody. Congress student body demands a CBI probe. After months of being seen as a party in free fall, in disarray, lurching from one crisis to the next, the Congress finally seemed to get its mojo back in the last few days, with Rahul Gandhi's loud promise of wealth redistribution becoming the central theme in the Modi machine's campaign rallies and speeches. From being a party that had been relegated to constantly reacting to everything the BJP said or did, the Congress for a brief moment there had turned the tables. Now it's the BJP reacting to what the Congress has said. Perhaps for the first time in a decade, the Congress was setting the agenda, forcing the conversation and leading the leader. Not an easy task when you're up against the obsessively active BJP. The truth is, however, viewer, the Congress's biggest enemy isn't the BJP. And as Gandhi family friend Sam Pitroda has cheerfully reminded us today of that powerful old cliche, with friends like these, who even needs enemies? Consider this for a moment. A party dismissed by most as being anything but battle ready for 2024 is suddenly the center point of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's attacks from his rally stage. At a time when the BJP's campaign agenda has been far more about Viksit Bharat and Modi's personal vision for the country, the Congress's super socialist googly of wealth redistribution suddenly catches the BJP in the headlights, forcing the entire BJP top brass to make a Congress manifesto promise its mudda number 1 in every speech or soundbite. That's the kind of traction and resonance the Congress has been dreaming of for a decade and not managed to obtain on a national level until now. But the moment never lasts with the Congress party. And why? Because Sam Pitroda, for no reason at all, gets on a Zoom call with the Indian media and wonders aloud about a controversial inheritance tax in the context of Rahul Gandhi's promise of wealth redistribution. What did Pitroda expect? Hasn't he been in precisely this situation before in 2019? Doesn't everyone remember the Hua to Hua episode? Isn't he aware of the implications of what he's saying? Don't his clarifications and pompous claims of being free to have an opinion in a democracy ring hollow when he has stupidly chosen to speak at a time when this issue has gone nuclear hot in India's political battlefield? Like Manishankar Iyer and Digvijay Singh before him, Sam Pitroda is no stranger to getting caught with an ill-advised comment by a justifiably hyperactive BJP and social media. But that's precisely the Congress's curse, that even when it has finally got the kind of national issue traction it has been yearning for 10 years without success, it is still someone on the inside who torpedoes it with this kind of silly indiscipline. What was more important for Sam Pitroda, I'm curious, to exercise his right to an opinion during a manic crossfire, or to recognize that he has harmed the party in the past and must simply resist the urge to open his mouth? But this goes beyond Sam Pitroda, viewer, because by bringing up something as controversial as inheritance tax, something that Rajiv Gandhi himself had abolished when he was Prime Minister in the 80s, Pitroda has revealed perhaps the true nature of the Congress's wealth redistribution promise, something that few are willing to call out, but I will do so today. The Congress's extreme left tilt, its headlong plunge into uber socialism with Rahul Gandhi's wealth X-rays, is not so much, in my view, a lofty vision for poverty alleviation and equitable growth, but about the very survival of the Congress party. Now, we can debate the wisdom of redistribution promises in a country that's on a growth path. But one needs to remember, viewer, that the Congress party faces a third possible defeat in the current Lok Sabha election. Far from the luxury of having an alternate vision to the BJP's, the Congress has realized it literally needs to go for broke if it is to have a fighting chance against Modi. Go big or go home is the mantra for the Congress party. And the only way to do this is to be laser focused on this idea of Robin Hood, taking from the rich and distributing to the poor. Now, the Congress doesn't get bogged down by pundits wondering how this will happen, because for the Congress, the objective right now isn't to figure out how to distribute wealth, but use this resonant promise to unseat the BJP and come to power. The details of a promise can always be tweaked and worked on, and U-turns can be taken on them once government formation actually happens. The point is, after two massive defeats in 2014 and 2019, and with its third attempt looking lackluster this year, the Congress believes it doesn't have the luxury of moderation in manifesto promises. It has to go big or go home. And that's perhaps the atmosphere in which a Sam Pitroda comes along and believes he can throw around phrases like inheritance tax. The Congress has attempted to craft its vision as a rich versus poor war, as a fight for justice to uplift those who've been ignored while wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few. No matter what you think of socialism and the create versus redistribute argument, the Congress is unbothered by critics and naysayers because it is finally convinced that the only priority now is to return to power. Not to debate, we'll think about how to pay the bills later, not to argue, not to convince, not to persuade, but to return to power at all costs. It doesn't matter if the promises sound tentative and ad hoc. This is about defeating the BJP for the Congress party. Everything else is a small detail. And that's where the issue of credibility comes in. Is the Congress party in a position to be seen as the messiah of a nationwide poverty alleviation campaign? It isn't just a question I'm asking. It's clearly something that bothers Rahul Gandhi too, given that he combatively attempted to debunk perceptions today of him as a non-serious politician. He actually listed schemes under the UPA government. A government, mind you, he wasn't and refused to be part of, but that's a different story. Credibility on this epic Garibi Hatao campaign by the Congress also boils down to whether Rahul Gandhi has earned faith with viral claims of money reaching people's accounts, khatakat, only to sheepishly clarify a few days later that he didn't quite mean that. A promise may be resonant. A promise of poverty alleviation will always be evocative, but it also needs to be backed by political credibility. By being triggered, the BJP has demonstrated that the core of the Congress's promise of wealth redistribution is resonant enough to take on directly. But will voters buy the promise or wonder about the true intent of such an unprecedented vow? Ultimately, it's good to finally, viewers, see some energy in the electoral discourse. It's good to see the Congress find at least some of its mojo. But as the Congress has learned too often in the past, sometimes its enemies are sitting a whole lot closer than 7 Lok Kalyan mark.
There is an inheritance tax. So if, let's say, one has $100 million worth of wealth, and when he dies, he can only transfer probably 45% to his children. 55% is grabbed by government.
Congress Overseas Chairman Sam Pitroda's remarks put Congress in a massive spot once again, giving fresh ammunition to the BJP. By almost pushing for a controversial inheritance tax on successors and legal heirs of the dead. Pitroda even praised the 55% wealth tax imposed in the US. Pitroda even backed Rahul's contentious survey and redistribution of wealth.
Let me tell you, in America, there is an inheritance tax. So if, let's say, one has $100 million worth of wealth, and when he dies, he can only transfer probably 45% to his children. 55% is grabbed by government. Now that's an interesting law. It says, you in your generation made wealth. You are leaving now. You must leave your wealth for public.
BJP immediately seized the opportunity to target the Congress, with Prime Minister accusing the Congress of trying to loot the dead.
मैं ये बात देश को साफ साफ बताना चाहता हूं कि कांग्रेस वोट बैंक पॉलिटिक्स के दलदल में इतना धंसी हुई है कि उसे बाबा साहब के संविधान की भी परवाह नहीं है। और आपको पता होगा, उन्होंने मैनिफेस्टो में तो लिखा है कि आपकी संपत्ति का सर्वे करेंगे। हमारी माताओं बहनों के पास जो स्त्री धन होता है, जो मंगलसूत्र होता है, उसका सर्वे करेंगे। और फिर उनके एक नेता ने तो भाषण में कहा, एक्सरे किया जाएगा। कांग्रेस का मंत्र है, कांग्रेस की लूट, जिंदगी के साथ भी लूट और जिंदगी के बाद भी लूट। शाही परिवार के शाहजादे के सलाहकार, इस शाही परिवार के शाहजादे के पिताजी के भी सलाहकार, उन्होंने कुछ समय पहले कहा था, और ये परिवार उन्हीं की बात मानता है। उन्होंने कहा था कि हमारा देश का जो मिडिल क्लास है, मध्यम वर्गीय लोग हैं, जो मेहनत करके कमाते हैं, उन्होंने कहा उन पर ज्यादा टैक्स लगना चाहिए। ये इन्होंने पब्लिकली कहा है। अब ये लोग उससे भी एक कदम आगे चले गए हैं। अब कांग्रेस का कहना है कि वो इनहेरिटेंस टैक्स लगाएगी, माता पिता से मिलने वाली विरासत पर भी टैक्स लगाएगी।
Home Minister Amit Shah to warned the people to be wary of Congress's sinister agenda.
इनके मन में छुपी हुई मनसा क्या है, आज बाहर आ गया है। इसका कॉग्निजेंस, इसका संज्ञान देश की जनता ने लेना चाहिए। और कांग्रेस पार्टी अगर ये नहीं करना चाहती तो अपने मैनिफेस्टो से सर्वे की बात को विड्रॉ करना चाहिए, ये घोषित करना चाहिए। हमारी प्रायोरिटी माइनॉरिटी नहीं है, हमारी प्रायोरिटी गरीब है।
खुद तो परिवारवाद की राजनीति करते हैं, लेकिन आपके परिवार के खून पसीने की कमाई को भी वसूली टैक्स लगाकर, वसूली टैक्स, ये इनहेरिटेंस टैक्स नहीं, इसको मैं वसूली टैक्स कहूंगा कांग्रेस का। जैसे कांग्रेस सत्ता में रहकर वसूली करती है, वैसे ही आपकी मौत के बाद भी वसूली टैक्स यानी कि इनहेरिटेंस टैक्स लगाने का सोच रही है। कांग्रेस का मैनिफेस्टो बताता है कि आपके गहने जांचेंगे, आपकी जमीन जांचेंगे, आपके बैंक अकाउंट जांचेंगे, आपकी प्रॉपर्टी जांचेंगे और उसको देश के उस समुदाय में बांट देंगे जो इनके लिए वोट बैंक है।
Put on back foot by Pitroda's words, Congress distanced itself, calling it his personal view.
He expresses his views on issues that he considers important very freely, and that's part of democracy. His comments are torn out of context and they are being sensationalized in order to divert attention from the Prime Minister's deliberate, mischievous and malicious, poison-ridden campaign. What Mr. Pitroda says are Mr. Pitroda's views. They are not the views of the Indian National Congress.
We are a democratic party. Everyone has a right to their personal opinions. Everyone knows I have personal opinions. But once the document is approved by the working committee, that's all the party is standing behind. So the party is saying, this is our document, read it. Nowhere does it talk about wealth redistribution. Nowhere does it talk about taking away anybody's gold and snatching the Mangal Sutras of women. This is such preposterous attacks that we are seeing from the BJP. It's a measure of their desperation.
After facing backlash, Pitroda too backtracked and claimed he merely expressed his admiration for the US inheritance system as a revenue generator. Will Pitroda's words once again embarrass Congress? Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, we're talking about Congress motor mouths damaging the party from the inside with their loose tongues. But we're also talking about inheritance tax. And I wanted to get into the substance through a timeline of inheritance tax in this country so our viewers know that it's not a black and white issue. Inheritance tax, also called estate duty, was introduced in 1953, by which inheritances or in an estate, anyone who left a certain amount of property or money to their successors, that could be taxed and was applicable for tax. In 1985, Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi famously abolished the inheritance tax and he was hailed for doing so. But in 2014, Jayant Sinha, who was a Minister of State for Finance in the first Modi government, actually hinted at bringing back this inheritance tax. In 2017, there was big buzz over the reintroduction of inheritance tax. In 2018, a year before elections, the government clarified that there were no plans to bring back inheritance tax. In 2019, there was once again buzz right before the budget about this particular tax being brought back, but it did not happen. There was also no clarification. And now in 2024, days after the Congress party finally finds some degree of traction in the national political conversation with a promise for wealth redistribution and equitable distribution of wealth in the country, Congress leader Sam Pitroda, loyalist and a close friend of the Gandhi family, chairman of the Overseas Congress, brings up inheritance tax once again, providing the BJP with a big weapon with which to attack the Congress with. Now remember, motor mouths like Sam Pitroda are a common species within the Congress party. In election after election, they've stepped up to exercise their right to express their opinion only to embarrass and damage their party.
गुजरात की सरकार चलाने वाले झूठे बेईमानी डर और मौत के सौदागर
नरेंद्र मोदी कभी भी देश के प्रधानमंत्री नहीं बनेंगे, नहीं बनेंगे, नहीं बनेंगे। लेकिन यहाँ आकर चाय का वितरण करना चाहते हैं तो हम उनके लिए कुछ जगह बना रखते हैं।
अब क्या है 84 का? बात तो करिए, आपने क्या किया 5 साल में, उसकी बात करिए। 84 में हुआ तो हुआ, आपने क्या किया? You were voted to create jobs. You didn't create any jobs.
हमें तो सीधा बता दिया गया था, हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री ने हमें बताया कि अगर राफेल का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट चाहिए तो अनिल अंबानी को कॉन्ट्रैक्ट देना पड़ेगा। चौकीदार, चौकीदार, चौकीदार।
और मोदी जी का तो आप पूछिए ही मत। मोदी जी का क्या कहना, देश के पहले ऐसे प्रधानमंत्री हैं जो परमानेंट अपनी ही पीड़ा में परेशान रहते हैं। कर्नाटका गए, बड़ी लंबी लिस्ट ले गए कि भाई मुझे इतनी गालियां दी हैं। यहाँ भी कहने लगे मुझे इतनी गालियां दी हैं। रोते ही रहते हैं। लगता है आपने वो सलमान खान की पिक्चर देखी है, तेरे नाम? उसमें सलमान खान शुरू से अंत तक रोते ही रहते हैं। मैं तो कहती हूँ मोदी जी के लिए भी पिक्चर बना देते हैं, उसका नाम रखेंगे मेरे नाम।
सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक की बात करते हैं कि हमने इतने लोग मार गिराए, लेकिन प्रमाण कुछ नहीं, केवल झूठ का पुलंदा से ये राज कर रहे हैं।
And joining me live now to quickly debate this issue with Sam Pitroda, once again providing the BJP perhaps a much needed weapon to attack the Congress with. The Prime Minister has already been doing it from his rally stages, but by opening his mouth from far away in the United States, Sam Pitroda has once again done the needful, some would say, for the BJP. Joining me live, Tuhin Sinha, spokesperson of the BJP. Sanjay Jha is a political analyst, formerly with the Congress party. Sanjay, welcome. Tuhin will be with us in a moment. Sanjay, there's a sense of deja vu here, isn't it? The fact that a stray comment by someone prominent in the Congress party gives the BJP just what it needs to get out of what many see as a bit of a sticky situation. Most people have seen the last few days as the Congress finally sort of dominating the narrative. It's the manifesto of the Congress party that's become the talking point. It seems to be leading the leader in some ways. It's the subject matter of the Prime Minister's speeches and attacks. And in comes Sam Pitroda, to give the BJP just what it's been waiting for.
Shiv, good evening. It actually tells you the political desperation of the BJP that Sam Pitroda sitting in Chicago talking about inheritance tax in some of the states in America. They are trying to latch into that comment as if that is going to be the Congress's declared public policy on income inequality. It's a ridiculously absurd conversation. And I actually read a very positive sign for the Congress here, that the BJP and Mr. Modi seem to be rattled by two developments. One, Mr. Modi's attempt to polarize the election with that horrific hate speech which he made in Rajasthan, which is echoing across the country, and I think is damaging BJP and Mr. Modi significantly, because people are seeing in that a very desperate, frantic attempt to try and, take the Congress manifesto, which is a very well-constructed manifesto with, good solutions for the youth, for the women, for Manrega, for unemployment, and especially, I think, in terms of looking at creating better social and economic equity. I think Mr. Modi calling it the Muslim League was, I think, such a terribly ill-timed, unfortunate, and a awfully worded attempt at giving it a, communal slant. Why would you do that? I expected the BJP to argue on its manifesto. Clearly, Mr. Modi has zero confidence in the BJP manifesto because the Congress's manifesto is exactly what is obsessed the BJP.
No, I take your point. I take your point about the fact that this manifesto is the big talking point. But surely, at a time when this resonance is happening, Sanjay, given that the BJP is not, some, straw man opponent. It's a big, powerful, hyperactive, bristling opponent that's waiting for you to make the smallest little mistake and blow it, in your words, completely out of proportion or to use it as a diversionary tactic. Surely, there is a problem here when people like Sam Pitroda come along and give, hand the BJP something like this. That's a real problem. I mean, today the Congress needn't have spent the entire day clarifying.
Shiv, let me tell you this, that end of day, is income inequality a challenge for India? Absolutely. You read the report, they're saying income inequality in India is worse than it was during the time of the British Raj. 1% of Indians have 22% of income and 40% of wealth. Now, the question of how do you resolve it, there are multiple ways to do that. Sam Pitroda is indulging in an academic conversation about inheritance tax in the US.
Yes, but why now?
But
At
look,
this sensitive time, why? I mean, he's been in this exact situation before. You know, I'm not saying the BJP is right to pounce on it and, you know, blow it out of proportion, but you and I both know, Sanjay, that's politics. That's what's going to happen. Anyone could have war-gamed something like this. It also comes down to, you know, the Congress speaking in different voices. Is there confusion about what the real message is? And, you know, what you're saying about the data that you're giving, all of that is true. But I'm saying that what is the point of all of that if ultimately you're giving the BJP a weapon to discredit what your true intentions are? Tuhin is also with me. Tuhin, Sanjay says that, you know, this is ridiculous. The BJP is rattled. That's why you're desperately jumping on everything that's happening. First of all, you're obsessed with the Congress manifesto. Now you've jumped on what Sam Pitroda said.
Well, good evening, Shiv. Good evening, Sanjay. You know, I am very appalled by seeing the extent to which this Congress party can go to further its Maoist tendencies. Now, they're spreading falsehood about US. In US, there is absolutely no federal law with regard to inheritance. You know, some states have it, but the percentages that is mentioned is way lesser than what Mr. Pitroda quoted. So, one, look at the extent that they are going to further their Maoist tendencies. But why are we surprised? At least on 3 occasions during the UPA 2, on 31st May 2011, 9th November 2012, and 8th February 2013, Mr. Chidambaram has categorically stated the need for inheritance tax, which probably indicates that it was work in progress, and which also probably indicates that what Mr. Pitroda has said today could have been advised.
But Tuhin, also Jayant Sinha in your government. Also Jayant Sinha in your government.
No, Jayant Sinha is
both governments have created buzz over inheritance tax.
The finance minister did not say that. Jayant Sinha, you know, is not in the scene today, so I would not comment on it. The rest of it was mere speculation. There were 3 or 4 occasions where the news must have come out, but you know, the media speculates. There was absolutely no word from an authoritative source. Now the point is, the problem arises, you know, where you link this inheritance, so-called inheritance, you know, tax which Congress is proposing or whatever, with their diabolic redistribution plan. And when I talk about redistribution, why it is diabolic? In Karnataka, you know, since you come from Karnataka or since you come from Bangalore, you would be aware that the NCBC has pulled up the Karnataka government because they have put the entire Muslim community in the OBC class. You know, when it comes to Bengal, 118 out of
separate issue. We're going to be doing that in 5:30. Yeah.
Can I give you a reminder quickly?
Coming to you, Sanjay.
This is why the redistribution agenda becomes a problem. This is why the country needs to beware of the stock of redistribution of this inheritance tax, because both of them are linked to a vicious plan which the Congress is unleashing in the country.
Okay. So this is actually interesting, Sanjay, because while the Congress party has said, you know, don't take such, I'm of course paraphrasing and being facetious here, but the Congress party is saying, you know, don't take everything that Sam Pitroda is saying seriously. He's got his own opinions. You've also said he's making an academic sort of assertion. But the BJP says, nay, we have to take it very seriously because it's actually linked to what the Congress intends to do.
Shiv, let me give you a short answer. Rajiv Gandhi government scrapped the inheritance tax. You know, that's what they say, walking the talk. And I think Tuhin should know that. And by the way, Congress comes out with a clear manifesto, no Muslim mentioned. If Modi decides to call it a Muslim league, what can you do, right? I mean, if these guys decide to be blinkered, they have a tunnel vision, they want to play politics with anything at all, even with serious economics, that actually is a manifestation of their own political insecurity at this point of time. I think they are worried after the first phase of polls, and my fear for the BJP is going to get progressively worse.
Okay.
The people are seeing through these very, I would call it very juvenile charades. It's very absurd because frankly speaking, I respect Jayant Sinha's decision to talk about wealth tax as a wealth tax or inheritance tax or estate duty as a form of reducing inequality. These are debates amongst people who are policy makers. It's normal. I wouldn't hang Jayant Sinha from a tree for that. No way.
Okay. No, fair point. But Tuhin, you can answer specifically to what Sanjay said, but I have a kind of larger point as well, because that's where this whole Sam Pitroda business comes into the play. No one has missed the fact that the Congress manifesto is the big talking point. Something has changed in terms of at least the subject matter of rallies and sound bites and speeches, Tuhin. It seems like things have gone from the BJP's vision, the Prime Minister's vision, to suddenly focusing an attack on the Congress manifesto promise, which is why Sanjay and the Congress party say the BJP is rattled. How do you answer that?
No, the Congress has been saying that we are worried. Why only we? The country needs to be worried. The country has never seen such a divisive manifesto. Now, Sanjay was reminding me that Rajiv Gandhi, scrapped the inheritance tax. Of course he did. And that is the tragedy of this Congress. You have disowned the legacy of Rajiv Gandhi. You have disowned the legacy of Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi also said, na jaat par, na paat par, vote padega haath par. Today you're asking for caste census. So this Congress party is a dangerous Congress party because it has completely given itself to Maoist forces. People like Kanhaiya Kumar are today, running the show. But also when they say that, nothing is mentioned in the manifesto, so why are you raking it up? Was UCC mentioned was CAA mentioned in their manifesto? But 2 days ago, you have seen Chidambaram come out and emphatically say that CAA will be scrapped the moment they come to power. So there is a lot of reading between the lines that needs to be done between the Congress manifesto, because it is a mischievous manifesto, which is what we are telling the people of the country.
Sanjay, final comments from both of you. Sanjay, you go first.
Shiv, I just believe that the Congress manifesto has addressed the fundamental issues that I think are actually being fought at the ground level. Unemployment, inflation, empowering the poor, minimum wages for all agricultural and construction labor, a Manrega for urban India, an enhanced wage for Manrega at rupees 400. I think these are constructive ways to solve India's problem. And I think at the end of the day, the BJP's problem is it believed that the manifesto is just another fuddy-duddy document that becomes irrelevant after the day it is announced. But I think the Congresses, this time they have taken it to the households. They're telling people in one-page pamphlets, this is what I'm going to do for you.
Okay.
And I think that is echoing very well. And, the success of Telangana and in Karnataka is something that the BJP is clearly bothered with, because I am astonished as to how a political party which has been in power for 10 years is not campaigning in what it has done. If it has done something, that is what Mr. Modi should be campaigning about. Okay. Instead, he's obsessed with the Congress manifesto and has got himself into a hate speech. I mean, how absurd
Final
is
comment, Tuhin. Final comment.
It seems Sanjay has not read the BJP manifesto properly. Increasing the Ayushman Bharat health cover to everybody above the age of 70. 3 crore more homes under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, making India a manufacturing hub. The amount of times the number of times we have emphasized that is more than the times you have emphasized upon minority upliftment. So we have an out-and-out progressive manifesto. But yes, if you will try to divide this country, we will call it out. If you will pursue an agenda which was pursued by Muslim League at one point of time, we will call it out.
Okay, phase 2 in a couple of days from now. Thanks very much, Sanjay and Tuhin, for joining me on debate number 1 here on 5 Live. The beautiful city of Hyderabad, the capital of India's youngest state, Telangana, is seeing some big high-profile power play in this year's Lok Sabha election. Hyderabad is one of the hot seats in the upcoming election, witnessing a high-stakes battle between sitting MP Asaduddin Owaisi and title challenger, the BJP's Madhavi Lata. Now today, Union Minister Anurag Thakur took a jab at the Hyderabad MP, suggesting that the AIMIM leader has been missing ever since the BJP candidate Madhavi Lata entered the fray. Take a look.
माधवी लता मैडम हमारे साथ जुड़ी है। मैडम क्या कहना चाहेंगे इस नॉमिनेशन रैली में?
आप जैसे देख रहे हैं, क्या कभी भी 40 सालों में एक भाजपा हिंदू महिला ठहरे तो मुसलमान और हिंदू मिलकर ऐसा एक त्योहार करते हुए नॉमिनेशन की तरफ जाना क्या आपने देखा है? यहाँ से शुरू हो रहा है इतिहास बदलना, यहाँ से शुरू हो रहा है सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका प्रयास और सबका विश्वास भी। यहाँ से इतिहास बदलने चल रहा है आबादी के तरफ, यहाँ से इतिहास बदलने चल रहा है भाग्य के ओर। अब हम बताएंगे कि ये हैदराबाद लोकसभा पार्लियामेंट जीतकर हम भारत देश का शान भी बनाएंगे और ताज भी बनाएंगे।
ओवैसी ने इसी बात पर कहा है कि इससे पहले भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने एक महिला को ही फील्ड किया था, कोई नई बात नहीं है।
मुझे तो ये समझ से बाहर हो रही है, क्योंकि जिनको हमने ठहरा है उनके खुद के कौम के लड़की को ठहरा है। उनको शायद अपने आप पर ही एक बार सवाल करने के समय आ गया है कि इस प्रकार के भाषा वो खुद के कौम के लड़की को जब भाजपा मौका देती है कहने में न झिझकने पर मुझे शर्मिंदगी आ रही है उस व्यक्ति का नाम लेने के लिए।
मैडम, ओवैसी ने कहा है कि अगर भारतीय जनता पार्टी यहाँ पर जीतती है तो अमन सुकून खराब होगा, साथ में अगर दंगे होंगे तो मोदी जी इसके जिम्मेदार होंगे, भारत में अगर दंगे होंगे।
इसका मतलब है पहले से दंगा करने का रेडी कर लिया असादुद्दीन ने। पता लग गया ना किस प्रकार का इंसान है वो। हम मिलकर लेके जाने की बात कर रहे हैं, वो धमकी भी दे रहे हैं और ये करे कि दंगे भी होंगे। ये है असदुद्दीन असली रंग।
मैडम, एक बार पतंग काटने का एक इशारा तो बताइए जो बहुत वायरल हो रहा है आपका, पतंग काटने का इशारा जो आप कर रही है।
हाँ तो क्या
धन्यवाद मैडम हमसे बातचीत करने के लिए। तो ये थी हैदराबाद की उम्मीदवार माधवी लता। सर, चार मीनार के पास आए हैं, एक तरफ चार मीनार है, दूसरी तरफ चार मीनार की आवाम का भरोसा है। क्या कहना चाहेंगे इस नॉमिनेशन रैली में?
हैदराबाद में चारों ओर एक ही गूंज है, ओवैसी का कोई नहीं अता पता जब से आई माधवी लता। और ये जोश उमंग महिलाओं में तो है ही, युवाओं में भी, आम जनमानस में है, क्योंकि 40 वर्षों से जिस परिवार की राजनीति को देखा उन्होंने विकास नहीं किया। विकास किया तो केवल ओवैसी के परिवार का हुआ है। इसलिए लोग बदलाव चाहते हैं, एक ऐसी नेता जो लोगों के लिए लड़े, जिसने 20 साल अपने जनता के सामाजिक कार्यों के लिए जीवन बिताया है। ऐसी माधवी लता जी आज मैदान में कूदी हैं, तो फर्जी वोटों का जिन आज बोतल में बंद हो गया है। और जिन फर्जी वोटों के दम पे ओवैसी जीते थे वो फर्जी वोट अब नहीं है, तो अब उनकी बोलती बंद हो जाएगी। वो एक ऐसे बैरिस्टर हैं जिन्होंने कभी महिलाओं के लिए आवाज नहीं उठाई, चाहे ट्रिपल तलाक की बात थी, महिला आरक्षण बिल था, नारी शक्ति बंधन बिल था, ओवैसी जी उनके लिए नहीं बोले। वो अपनी मर्दानगी दिखाते रहे, महिलाओं के लिए खड़े नहीं हुए।
मोदी की एक ही गारंटी मुसलमानों से नफरत की गारंटी है। वो 2002 से सिर्फ नफरत के मुजाहरे कर रहे हैं और 17 करोड़ देश की आबादी है मुसलमानों की, सबसे बड़ी अल्पसंख्यक समाज है। वो देश के 140 करोड़ जनता के प्रधानमंत्री हैं, सिर्फ मुसलमानों के नहीं है क्या? उनको इस तरह से रुसवा करना, उस तरह से उनसे नफरत करना, और अगर कल कुछ देश में दंगा हो जाए उस जिम्मेदारी नरेंद्र मोदी की होगी।
Bashir joins me live from Hyderabad. He's the one who did that interview with Madhavi Lata as well as Asaduddin Owaisi. A very, very high-profile seat. Abdul, after many years, it looks like the battle for Hyderabad is going to be a clash of, I would not say titans, but at least some high-profile action is happening. Madhavi Lata has got a lot of media and social media traction, but Asaduddin Owaisi is a very entrenched sitting MP in Hyderabad. How is this fight looking to you?
Well, as you can see that this constituency, Hyderabad parliamentary constituency, is already, is being highlighted mainly for being AIMIM's bastion.
Yeah.
For years, AIMIM had been, bagging this seat, but now it seems like there is a tough opponent against AIMIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi, who is right now contesting from Hyderabad. Now, this is not going to be easy for Owaisi, is what it looks like. Wherein Madhavi Lata, who had recently, announced as a candidate from the Bharatiya Janata Party, has, grabbed a lot of attention for her moves, for her speeches, for her actions that she's doing. As you can see in my interview with her, she's also shown an action where she's, showing that she's cut the string of kite of Owaisi. Owaisi's party symbol is kite, and through that she shows that the string of Owaisi's kite has been cut in this elections. But it is not easy for Madhavi Lata. As you can see, last time in the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, AIMIM chief had bagged 59% of vote share in the city of Hyderabad. Now, it is not that easy for Madhavi Lata, but not that difficult as well, wherein Madhavi Lata, countering to all the allegations, all the allegations that is put up against her by Owaisi, she's also put up many issues and agenda against Owaisi, be it development, be it the Muslim and the communal angle that usually plays in Hyderabad city. She has put it in a fair way. wherein she believes in Ram, she believes in Rahim, everything with her social service to Muslim women, triple talaq, everything, all the service that she's done, she's putting it forward as her election card as before the elections. Every campaign that she's doing, be it the Hindu minority area in the Hyderabad Lok Sabha constituency and majority where Muslims reside, every area that she's campaigning, she seems confident.
Thanks very much, Abdul. Keep tracking that story. Hyderabad goes to the polls in the next couple of phases, so we'll be tracking that very closely. Today was the last day for that nomination. Now, controversy, meanwhile, has erupted over a Muslim quota move by the Siddaramaiah government in Karnataka. The categorization of the entire Muslim community as a backward class has triggered a big political storm in Karnataka. Prime Minister Modi has attacked the Congress, accusing it of a plan to deprive OBCs and Dalits of existing reservations. Modi said the Congress is planning to take away Dalit and OBC quotas and give them to its vote bank, a reference to the Muslim community. Modi asserted that only the BJP can safeguard quota for the backward classes, which is an ironic statement given that this is precisely the issue on which the Congress is attacking the BJP. The National Commission for Backward Classes also slammed the Muslim quota in Karnataka. The Caste Commission said that Muslim quota undercuts the OBC and scheduled caste quota and deprives backwards. The Backward Caste Commission added that any religion-based quota is against social justice. The National Commission for Backward Classes said that quota in jobs and education for all Muslims is against social justice.
मुस्लिम समुदाय में जितनी भी जातियां हैं, सबको उन्होंने ओबीसी कोटा में डाल दिया और ओबीसी बना दिया। यानी जो हमारे देश के ओबीसी समाज को लाभ मिलता था, उसका बड़ा हिस्सा कट गया और वो भी वहां चला गया। यानी कांग्रेस ने सामाजिक न्याय का अपमान किया, सामाजिक न्याय की हत्या की। कांग्रेस ने भारत के सेक्युलरिज्म की हत्या की। कर्नाटका अपना यही मॉडल ये कांग्रेस पूरे देश में लागू करना चाहती है।
It's a political stand taken by National Commission of Backward Classes because it is controlled now by Mr. Modi. They are parroting what BJP wants to say. Why did they wake up after 30 years long, when the minorities, the Muslims were, with a survey, proper study done, categorized as a group which is socially backward, right? So NCBC suddenly wakes up and says, no, that's wrong. That means, and that too during the peak of the election, when the Prime Minister, with the fear that he's losing the elections, have started abusing Muslims. Instead of talking about unemployment, talking about price rise, talking about, why the poorest of the poor are getting more poor, the richest of the rich are getting more richer.